And welcome back, YouTube. It is, dude. Trying to change lanes, and the guy in the lane behind me is like coming up behind, trying to just run up on the ass of the semi behind me. Like, accelerating that much faster than the vehicle in front of you serves no purpose other than to fuck with people who might be trying to get out of a given lane. Oh, okay, that was disorienting and frustrating. Probably didn't help that I was trying to do an unsignaled lane change, though. Anyway, damn, that just screwed my whole train of thought. Did I even get the date out? I don't feel like I did. And at the moment, I can't remember the day and date. Wednesday, February 15th. Wednesday, February 15th, 2023. Clock says 5:44, so that means it is 5:48 a.m. I was watching the traffic view right before I started the video recording on my iPhone here, and gonna be some slowdowns in the next couple of miles, and after that it should pick up and be not bad all the rest of the way home. I'm hoping, of course, you know, whenever I turn off my traffic view, an accident could happen, and it's possible I might not know about it. So I keep saying I'm going to do something about having a phone where I can see the traffic view and having another phone where I can shoot video, but yeah, haven't got that handled yet. And this sucks.
Starting at about 75th Avenue.
I noticed
some slowing on the southbound 101, the Agua Fria, right near Thomas. Just took a look at the cameras, not seeing any crashes there, but just to pick up in volume as we get closer to the 6 o'clock hour. Also a little bit of slowing southbound I-17 from Bethany Home Road on into Thomas. Other than that, we only have one surface street crash to let you know about. That's 59th Avenue north of McDowell. That is a collision involving a pedestrian.
Lovely.
KTAR News.
Hey, John, do me a favor.
Yes, sir.
Don't mention the train and snow again, because my kids misconstrue everything. They're going to swear.
That's gospel, Dad.
You promised we'd go on the Polar Express. Like, no.
Gosh.
You
Yeah.
just mentioned snow and train.
Oh, all right. Whatever train of thought I had going into this video, it's done. Jumped the tracks. Just saying on the news this morning that it snowed in parts of the valley, like higher altitude extremities, like Troon North and the Superstition foothills, and maybe where my stepdad is. I'll shoot him a text and ask if he got snow, since he lives up in the foothills of the White Tanks up in Whitman. At least I think he still lives there. I've heard from him in quite a while. So I did actually end up working. Well, obviously I only worked, if you saw the last video, I didn't get there till after midnight, so just worked second half shift. I'm certainly sitting in negative UPT right now, so as soon as I get home I need to cover that with some PTO, so I don't start the whole getting terminated for negative UPT chain of events. I'm probably going to get the automated email though, but that's fine. As long as I get it flipped over, I can just ignore that email. And it certainly wouldn't be the first time that's happened. So looks like I'm not going to make it to the short stack in time to get into the carpool lane and go across. It's see, 547 plus 4, so 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. Yeah, it's 551 right now. Yeah, there's no way. It's definitely going to be after 6 by the time I get to the short stack. So that sucks. This is more traffic than I like being in. So went in today. The reason I'm running a little bit late coming out, I actually clocked out like right straight up at 5:30. But as I was on my way out, couldn't help but catch the end of a conversation of one person who was obviously a forklift driver who I've never seen before, talking to another person who is obviously a forklift driver that I've never seen before, complaining about how it's very nerve-wracking to be unloading totes and have 5 water spider just standing there staring at him. Which just made me laugh, because if that's the situation, you're too slow. That only happens when you're too slow at loading the totes, or you're not getting off the forklift and closing the gate so they can take the totes and leave. If they're standing there watching you, you need to change your approach, because you're not doing it right. Now, to be fair, it's his first night, and his focus on his first night should honestly be not dropping totes, because sometimes it's just the wrong person seeing you drop totes, and that's the end of you being a forklift driver. Anyway, I overheard that, and it just made me giggle. And then that guy quickly walked away, and I turned to the other guy and just told him, it's like, yeah, I've been a forklift driver for a while. I said, they're watching you like that, it's because you're too slow. And he started laughing. He goes, yeah, that guy's crazy slow. And then I started chatting with him, and I forget his name, but the guy's an interesting character. Never seen him before. I assume he just started. Although it's really odd to just jump right into forklift if you just started, but from what he said, he's actually an OSHA certified forklift driver and has driven forklift and a lot of other industrial type equipment. Apparently he's got all kinds of experience, which of course to me, for me begged the question, why are you here? You've got all this experience, why here? Why come to the warehouse that hires absolutely anybody with 0 experience and pays less than everybody else? Why? And of course the answer was, I just want something different. I'm like, well, okay. But interesting conversation with him, and he was talking about like how he's many times had to go through the test, and he just whizzed right through it. Reasonably sure that Malik was the one who was training him, so based on his description of it, so that's cool. I just barely saw Malik at the beginning of my shift, didn't really talk to him today. Anyway, so yeah, I got there, didn't really have time to sit down and eat like I was wanting to do before I started. So consequently, I haven't really ate much since I got up. But went ahead and went to the MP outbound stand-up, just because, that's, at this point, that's my main department. That's designated in the system as my home department, and that's where I'm most expected. I mean, granted, I've got 2 other departments that I can just show up to and work, but I kind of feel like it's just in everybody's best interest, in my best interest, to just show up MP first, see what's going on. And I've already been telling leadership there that I really wanted to do a shift in inbound fluid just to get the hang of the De-StuffIt machine. I got a lot to say about the De-StuffIt machine, and I wonder if I'm even going to get to that. But really disappointed with the thing in a lot of ways. And that I should probably do a separate video just about that and actually script it out, which is not something I really ever do on this YouTube channel. But most of my videos are just me rambling quasi incoherently, so which isn't very constructive for a critique of a piece of industrial equipment. But anyway. I was really looking forward to using the De-StuffIt, and I feel like all things considered, I did okay with it. But it's definitely engineered and designed by somebody who would never actually be using it. And I feel like they never actually did any field tests with people who unload trucks for a living. And like I'm thinking they should have had, installed them in a warehouse with some people who regularly unload trucks for a living, and then got some feedback. And also people who regularly load trucks for a living who are critical thinkers. Now, granted, if you drew a Venn diagram and people who unload trucks for a living and critical thinkers, there's probably not a lot of overlap, sadly. Because when I talked to it about some of the people that I work with, it's like, well, have you tried it? What do you think of that? And then I was throwing out my critique of it. Some of them looked at me and they're like, yeah, you're right, didn't really think about that. And I think I upset Joe a little bit, because at one point he comes up and I'm having trouble getting the belt to start again. And I don't really know why. I'll tell you this, the thing beeps all the time. It just beeps. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. And towards the end of the shift, like there was still a little bit of work to do in fluid, and I just had to walk out of the area because it seemed like every De-StuffIt machine and every extended conveyor that's connected to it was just beeping. Just this non-stop beeping, 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 high, shrill, just chaotic beeps. And me being as sensitive to noises as I am, which I'm 100% convinced is ASD, autism spectrum disorder, formerly known as Asperger's syndrome. Yeah, it was overwhelming. I couldn't even deal with it anymore. And as I've complained before about my car, like sometimes my car beeps for no apparent reason. The only beep that I'm familiar with in this car that serves a purpose is, wow, look at that jackass. Passing way faster than traffic on the right, only to hurry up and jam on his brakes. What a dick. Yeah, I'm just about not being in this semi's blind spot. Apparently not a lot of people drive with that sort of thing in mind. Anyway, like this car beeps quite a bit, and most of those beeps serve absolutely no purpose. I don't know why it's beeping. There's no indicator to go with the beep to say why it's beeping. It's just beeping. And the only beep I could think of that this car does that makes sense to me is if I inadvertently leave my turn signal on for too long, that'll start beeping, which draw my attention to the fact that the turn signal's on, I'll turn it off. Other than that, every other beep this car does to me serves zero purpose. To me, if something's beeping, it should serve a purpose. Otherwise, it just shouldn't beep. That said, the De-StuffIt machines beep constantly. Surely those beeps mean something, but it's just such an utter assault of just non-stop beeps, changing patterns and stuff, that they would just be better if they disable all the beeps, just so there's not that noise distracting people from trying to focus on the work they're doing. So that's my number one complaint on it. Number two complaint is it's got these, the controls are really unintuitive. It's got optical sensors. It's got two different types of optical sensors. It's got one to make sure your hand is on the control in the quote-unquote right place while you're operating it, or nothing will work. That seems like a good idea, but it's more of a hindrance than a help. Way more of a hindrance than a help. Also, it has controls that change function depending on what it's doing, which again, not very intuitive, not very helpful. There's videos on YouTube that I've kind of looked for videos about the De-StuffIt machine, and I know I think I've linked a couple of them to my video descriptions. really stood out to me is in the videos, there was no actual video of somebody unloading a truck with it. And the purpose of this thing is to unload a truck. Meanwhile, there's some guy demonstrating it who looks like he's never unloaded a truck in his life, showing different features of it. But it's one thing to see a feature on something while it's sitting in the floor, completely disconnected from anything. Oh, look, it goes up and down. Okay. Why would you want to make it go up and down while it's just sitting on a floor like that? And then the one video just shows the guy like cruising around a warehouse in it. It shows it's fully mobile and you can drive around. Okay, that's fine, but people aren't going to be using these to be joyriding around warehouses. They're going to be using them to unload trucks. Yeah, so when you're unloading a truck, it constantly just beeps. You have no idea why it's beeping. And the controls, when they do work, are very unintuitive, very unresponsive. And like there's an extreme lag between when you turn a control to do something and when it actually does that thing. And then of course, if there's an optical sensor that it suddenly decides it's been triggered, that it wasn't triggered when you got there, and nothing has moved, so why is it triggered now? It just beeps at you. But it could be one of, I want to say 6 different sensors, maybe 5 different sensors. At any rate, there is a control panel, there is a panel with LEDs that can tell you what sensor it is. However, it's labeled with very small text, and it's absolutely nowhere near the operator controls. It would be the equivalent of putting a speedometer in your car on the back of the passenger seat headrest. Wow, look at this jackass in front of me, totally tailgating the guy in front of him. Like in driver's ed, they told us we should always maintain a 2-second following distance between the vehicle in front of you, which means that as soon as they cross something, it should be 1001, 1002 before you cross what it is, like 1001, 1002, bam, on when the lines come together. And that guy is like, I don't even think he's a full second. He's probably a half a second behind the vehicle in front of him. If that vehicle in front of him has a blowout or just stomps on his brakes, he's going to eat his bumper. Meanwhile, that guy's coming over in the money truck with no blinker. Anyway, it just kills me when I see people tailgating like that. It's just an accident waiting to happen. Which is not something I want to happen right in front of me. So anyway, the machine's like, I'm trying to do something. I'm not completely confident that I'm hitting the right control, because the labels for what the controls do are very difficult to see. They're placed in like all the controls are labeled, but they're placed in a location where the rail of the conveyor belt obstructs your view of them. And then I noticed on one of them I was using that the little panel where it shows what the control is has fallen off. The most frustrating control on it is it has this thing, and there's one on each side. It's a control that's shaped like a motorcycle throttle. I don't know whose brilliant idea it was to shape it like a motorcycle throttle, but yeah, dysfunctional and non-intuitive. I think just simple levers would have been a whole lot better. Just a lever that you flip up to bring it up and flip down to bring it down would sure be a lot more intuitive than this goofy motorcycle throttle thing. And the frustrating thing is when you go to bring it up and down, like obviously I'm gonna put it at the top of the wall and start throwing the boxes at the top. So I'm taking it to its highest position. By the way, there's really no way of, I finally figured out a way of knowing when it's in the highest position, but there's no visible indicator or unique sound. That's the biggest problem with the beeping, is it's just the same beep, 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 all just non-stop, it's beeping. Like if it had unique beeps for certain things, like that would be useful audio beep feedback, but the thing just beeps incessantly, non-stop. talking about some kind of road closures in Tucson. Not like I'm going to Tucson. It's distracting me. Anyway, I don't know. I need to gather my thoughts before I give a better critique of what's wrong with it. But yeah, it's just the controls are just not intuitive at all, and I'm kind of getting used to them. But like it's so difficult to take the thing in and out of the truck. Now there's a knob, or if you turn it one way, it rolls it into the truck. If you turn it the other way, it rolls it back out of the truck. And if you could just simply operate that control by itself, that would be great. But you can't. It doesn't work that way. In order to make that control work, you have to be covering the sensor on the motorcycle throttle doodad, the optical sensor. So it knows your hand is there. But like, why? Because that's not the control I'm trying to use. I'm just trying to take it in and out of the truck. I don't know. It's just wired that way. Some engineer thought that was a good idea. Well, when you're going in and out of the truck, that motorcycle throttle thing makes it kind of go to the left and the right as it's going in the truck. I don't want it going to the left of the truck or the left or the right. I just simply want it going straight in the truck. Once it's in the truck, I don't even want it to have the capability to go right and left. It should just go in and out in a straight line. How hard is that? Now, if you didn't have to put your hands on that little sensor, it would be great. You could just, once you've got it lined up and you're going into the truck and you're going straight in the truck, you could just turn the knob to go in and out. But you can't, because you have to have your hand on this one controller of the sensor, which makes it it's really hard to trip that sensor and not make it go to the right or the left. So it's very difficult to keep it centered in the truck because you're working your way further in, and then when you're done, you're just simply trying to get it out of the truck. So I'm trying to get it out of the truck after I finished my first truck. I feel like I did really well, all things considered, on my first truck. And that was like a collapsed load that I was dealing with. So did pretty good on it. And then kind of joking with Joe on it. And now I was really struggling was Joe was trying to show me how to do it. And then once he's like, well, I got to do other stuff at the balloon. I'm like, well, that's fine. And I said, I think I've got it. I said, I'm feeling kind of uncomfortable, but I think I'll be all right. He rolled out. And once I was on my own, I found that I was actually able to operate it better squatting. Like, it's designed to be operated standing up, but when you're standing up, you can't see. The controls are down, especially when the conveyor's down low, because they're on the conveyor. The controls for the conveyor are on the conveyor. I guess that's okay, but the thing is, the conveyor can go all the way down to your feet. So how are you supposed to operate something that's down to your feet when you're standing up? It makes zero sense. I really want to get myself a pair of, I'd ultimately like to use Google Glass, but that's out of my budget. But I'd like to get myself a pair of, and I've said I'd like to get these before for my vlogging, but some inexpensive camera glasses. Probably should take a look at LGR thrifts. And I haven't watched LGR's channel in, God, probably over a year. I used to watch LGR all the time. LGR, short for Lazy Game Reviews. Great YouTube channel. I just haven't watched him in a while. I hope he's still putting out content. Kind of puzzled why the algorithm never recommends me LGR anymore. Probably just because I kind of stopped watching, but I don't know, YouTube algorithm is frustrating like that sometimes. Anyway, of all the stuff on LGR's channel, my favorite is his series called LGR Thrifts, where he shoots it with these camera glasses, so you get to see like a first-person view of what he's looking at as he's cruising through thrift stores. Now he goes back later and edits the video. It adds music and narration. Yeah, I don't have those kind of video editing skills, nor do I really have the equipment to do that. But I would just be down to record and talk to myself, since I'm alone in the truck by myself anyway. Just so you could see just how dysfunctional it is. But yeah, like the indicators of what optical sensors are going off, they're located in a place where you can't see it when you're operating it. How stupid is that? The labelings on the controls are located in such a place that you can't see them when you're using them. How stupid is that? The optical sensors trip on just the stupidest things. So anyway, trying to get it back out of the truck. Long story short, because I'm just ready to call it a night and go inside. My daughter's been texting me all night. She's probably wondering why I'm not responding to her, which should be pretty obvious to her because she knows what my work schedule is, but the kid doesn't listen, so what you gonna do? But we were having a pretty deep conversation via text during my last break at work. I'd like to get back to that. Anyhow, so where was I? So I'm trying to get it out of the truck, but I find that I veered like way off to one side, but I just can't, like, that the side-by-side thing when you're going in and out, like, that should just be disabled. Like, every one of these is stationary attached to an individual dock. Like, once you're in the truck, you should be able to just hit a toggle switch. And from that point on, it should just go in and out. You shouldn't have to put your finger on a fucking optical sensor to bring it in and out. But no. So it's super easy to get it crooked in the truck. And constantly, like, when you're trying to go up, and once you've got it in a place and the optical sensor has stopped it because you're as close as the boxes as you're supposed to be, and you go down, or you go up, and then you're doing the stuff, and then you try to go down, but somewhere along the line it's decided you're too close. So you've got to back out. And then you've got to bring it down. You can't just bring it down. Like, once you're down, once you're in a place, once you've got it into a position, and you have not moved in or out, there shouldn't be anything locking out the up and down controls. There really shouldn't. But there is. So you end up having to go out until the optical sensors aren't going off, but you can't really tell where that is because the indicators for them are located in a place where you can't see them. Then you've got to kind of raise it up down where you want it. Then you've got to go back in, and all the while trying not to get crooked on it, because you have to put your hand on a control that will make it go right and left when all you need to do is go into the truck, but you can't operate the one that just makes it go into your truck without putting your hand on the thing that makes it go left and right. And it's really awkward, so you end up going right and left. So anyway, I'm trying to back it out of the truck, and I realized it kept getting stuck, and I couldn't get it to move, and I realized the optical sensor was just sensing I was too close to one side of the truck. Now granted, if you could just turn the knob and go straight in and out, and it just not try to turn, and not have the capability to turn when you're in a truck, that problem would be solved. I just turn the knob to the left, and out I'd go. But doesn't work like that. Anyway, so I'm kind of struggling. Well, Ty, the area manager, walks in, kind of comes in the truck. It's like, you all right? I said, yeah, I finished just fine. I just can't seem to get it out of the fucking truck. I said, I can see I'm too close on this side, but it's just, I can't seem to get it. It keeps beeping at me, and I can see those lights down there that it's triggering an optical sensor, but from here I can't see which one, and I have no idea like what it's tripping on. I think it's just because it thinks I'm too close to this wall. And he goes, oh yeah, it does that. I got this, man. So he gets on the controls. He's the boss, gonna show me how it's done. Well, he's struggling too. It's doing the same thing. It doesn't want to move with him. It's just beeping and beeping and beeping, and there's the lights down below are blinking. And there's other lights too that blink, but they're located in a place where there's, like, what's the point in having a blinking indicator light if it's not located close enough to where you can see it and clearly labeled so you can see why it's blinking? What's the point? Just get rid of that shit, or move it where the operators can see it. One or the other. Is anybody from De-StuffIt watching this? Your product sucks, and that's why. So anyway, he's trying to get it out. Now, there was something that I remembered in the class that was taught by the super perky, energetic young girl who, very gorgeous, perky, energetic young girl who clearly has zero experience in operating the thing. Brilliant of Amazon to have the learning ambassadors with zero experience teaching the classes. That's not a De-StuffIt problem. That's an Amazon problem. But anyway, so in class, I do remember 90% of the class information was completely useless information because it's not stuff that we actually do with the machine. It's stuff that RME does with the machine. That's the maintenance people. It's not stuff that the person using the machine would do. So why are they teaching it to us? You know, it'd be like a driver's ed class spending 75% of the time in the class showing how an internal combustion engine works. The average driver doesn't really need to know that. And showing how to rebuild a carburetor. Yeah, you don't need to know how to rebuild a carburetor to drive a car. Anyway, I do remember there was a thing in the class, and I don't remember how you do it, but I do remember there was a thing that you could do to override the optical sensors. and continue to move it regardless of the optical sensors. I also remember that it was super fucking awkward. Basically, you had to hold 2 knobs in opposite directions at the same time, and then somehow do another thing. I only have 2 hands, so I'm not sure how I'm supposed to operate 3 controls at the same time. But I did see Ty trying to do that, getting frustrated because the optical sensors wouldn't let it move, and that's the problem I was having, and it's beeping nonstop. So I saw him trying to override the optical sensors to get it out. Yeah, he rammed it into the side of the truck, taking it out. I'm like, wow. This is my manager doing this. Awesome. Yeah. He did eventually get it out of the truck. But yeah, overall my experience was kind of frustrated. So I'm torn. Do I want to go in there and just all try to? I think I can get to the point. God knows I operate a lot of dysfunctional equipment, and I'm pretty good at learning idiosyncrasies of machines and working around in idiosyncrasies of machines. So I mean, I could probably master it regardless, but like at this point, I'm just thinking like, why is it like this? And thinking of all the minor things that could be engineered differently and programmed differently on the machine and make it super efficient. Because overall, what the machine does is pretty fucking awesome. But yeah, the optical sensors are more of a hindrance than a help. And the fact that like when it's in a truck, there's not a control to just go in and out. Like it wants to. You've got to have your hand on a control that makes it go left and right. And it's not intuitive what makes it go left and right, because it's the same thing that makes it go up and down. And yeah, it's just unbelievably stupid. I mean, you know, if all I had to do was just turn, if all I do is the second knob from the right, if I could just turn that left and right to make it go in and out and do nothing else, like it'd be real easy to go in and out. But, super difficult. And also, once it's in a stationary position, if it would always go up and down regardless of what it thinks it sees in the optical sensors, that just those changes, and then moving, get rid of all the fucking beeps, fuck all the beeps, and just have a panel with lights clearly labeled for whatever issues it's having, where the operator can see it. Those things, and a lever to raise it up and down other than the goofy motorcycle thing. And I don't see the purpose of having an optical sensor where your hand needs to be in a place to see that your hand's in a place to operate it. That's just dumb. But I don't know. Part of me wants to get better at it, and part of me wants to be like, yeah, not my department, not my problem. What will I do? I don't know. Tomorrow I'm going to definitely drive my forklift. I hope. I don't know. Maybe I'll go to prep receive. I don't know. Anyway, it was an adventure. I made some progress. I finished that one truck. I ended up working in 3 different other ones that I didn't get to finish, which was kind of frustrating for me. But they just kept making me move, because the conveyors that get the stuff from the De-StuffIt, the extended conveyors are pretty reliable, but we've got our old flex conveyors that have been moved into these weird positions that they stay in between where the PID line conveyors start and where the extended conveyors that came with the De-StuffIt machines end, and those things don't really get the packages onto the last conveyor by themselves. So pretty much you have to have at least one person, maybe 2 people outside just to push the boxes up the conveyors, because the conveyors are dysfunctional. I don't blame that on the stuff, but I kind of blame that on whoever decided to integrate that into GUIR 3. It seems to me they could have done that a whole lot better than they did. But yeah, I had one truck I was doing my second truck I felt like I was doing pretty good on. But then the person that was at the other end just kind of pushing the boxes to make sure that they made it to the final conveyor, he came in the truck to let me know that he was going home early and he was leaving, so there was nobody there to be at the other end of it for me. So I'm like, well, that's great, I guess I'm done here. Anyway, I could go in more detail. I've wasted 35 minutes on this. I just want to go inside, lie down, text my daughter back. But anyway, thanks for coming with me, listening to me complain about the De-StuffIt machine. I wish I was better at video production and had a computer set up for that, because I would just love to do a react video to the promotional videos from the company that makes the De-StuffIt machine, because I think that could be entertaining. And I really do want to get a pair of glasses like what Clint and Lazy Game Reviews has, LGR, for his LGR thrifts, because it would be, I think it'd be fun. I was just thinking to myself while I was in it, like as I'm actually operating it, to see from a POV type video of a guy trying to operate the machine, all of its flaws. Is I just get the feeling that people that the De-StuffIt people, the people that engineered the machine, have never actually got in it and tried to unload a truck with it, or maybe just did a couple boxes like, oh yep, does what it needs to do, but never actually tried to do the job. Like unload 5 trucks with this thing, get back to me on what needs to change, because I think I've already described quite a few of the things that need to change. But of course, they're not. My job is at Amazon is not to critique the machine and document the things that need change. My job is to unload the trucks when I'm on it. And yeah, at this point, I'd just rather unload a truck. I'd rather load trucks with a forklift. But anyway, it was an adventure. It was an adventure I was looking forward to, and it's all right. And it was nice to be there with Ty and Joe again. I like those guys, but I do think I kind of frustrated Joe, because at one point I was having trouble getting the conveyors on it going again, and he's like, it's simple. I don't know why you're struggling. It's simple. You turn it up and turn it down. I'm like, it's a knob. It doesn't go up and down. It goes clockwise and counterclockwise, which I think it pissed him off when I said that. But I don't know. That's just kind of how I'm wired. Like, clockwise and counterclockwise are not the same thing as up and down. So you tell me to turn a knob up and down, but the knob goes clockwise and counterclockwise. I'm not, do I need to go clockwise and then counterclockwise, or do I need to go counterclockwise and then clockwise? Because I'm trying both, and neither seems to be working. Well, you go up and down. It's a knob. It doesn't go up and down. Joe got so frustrated with that, he just stomped out the trailer, which I don't normally frustrate Joe. And I wasn't trying to frustrate Joe. I was just kind of frustrated with the fact that I was struggling with the controls for this thing because they're not intuitive. And then, of course, he's telling me to turn a knob that turns clockwise and counterclockwise, up and down. It doesn't go up and down. And it'd probably be a lot easier to work if it did go up and down, like just a simple up and down toggle, up for on, down for off. And all these protection things or whatever that, you got to have your hand this and needs to sense this and sense that to turn. No, just put a fucking switch off and on. There's e-stops all over the goddamn thing. Just a toggle that's off and on. If I flip that toggle up, it needs to come on. If I flip that toggle down, it needs to go off. Simple as that. None of this second guessing sensor bullshit. Anyway, I'm done. I really am. Thanks for watching.